Coming up, it's a very special bonus episode of Ride the Lightning, the Tesla unofficial podcast. My big day finally arrived, delivery day of my Model 3, and I thought I just couldn't wait. I want to tell you all about it. What's happening, friends? Ryan McCaffrey with you for the first ever emergency bonus episode of Ride the Lightning, the Tesla unofficial podcast. As I record this, it is 3 p.m., not quite 24 hours after my delivery of my Model 3 here on July 30th, 2018. And of course, for the guy that always says, well, I want to keep it about the Tesla news and everything, I don't want to make it too much about myself. Here I am doing an entire extra episode entirely about myself. But, I thought I was going to just, I told you what I was going to do last week, but then after I got the car, a number of you reached out and said, oh, you should do a bonus, just do an emergency episode and just tell us all about it. And the more I thought about it, it's like, well, I think you're all right, because that way, first of all, I'm high on energy right now. Number two, and why not capture that? Number two, this is the big earnings call week, but I'm pretty much sitting on my thumbs as far as Tesla stuff goes until Wednesday when the earnings call is. Number three, that way I can get you my impressions quicker this way, and if people, don't want the Ryan stuff and they just want the Tesla news, then they can just not listen to this and just move on to the next episode. So hopefully this will be a win for everybody. We've got Daisy the Boxer Puppy here, of course. And I want to tell you, so I've got there's no, usually I do copious amounts of show notes. That's part of the preparation that goes into Ride the Lightning, just organizing all my thoughts, putting everything together, what order I want to do stuff. That I don't have that here. I'm just gonna sort of just talk off the cuff for a while, and we'll see how long this goes. So yeah, Sunday, yesterday as I record this, Sunday, July 29th, 2018, around, I guess by the time I actually saw my car and got introduced to my car, I think it was somewhere around 4:45, 5 o'clock p.m. But the baby is well. The baby weighs in at 4,072 pounds. So yeah, it's here. It's great. I want to walk you through it. So I want to start by, first of all, actually, before I do anything else, I actually want to start and thank all of you. And the reason for that is well, there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, just this adventure that you have chosen to share in it in some way with me, however whether you've listened once, you listen every week, whatever the case may be, you've come along for the ride here of your own volition, and I sincerely appreciate that. But my career, my living, which this podcast is not my living, but it's become a nice little side gig thanks to your support, but all of it, everything I do, both my day job and my night and weekend job here with the podcast, is entirely made possible by you guys having an interest in what I'm doing and consuming that content, reading my stuff, listening to my stuff, watching my stuff, whatever the medium and format may be. And so the point, I don't have a career without you guys. And so that just, I try again, that whole 10,000 foot view thing I talk about all the time. That alone, I thought about that yesterday as I was waiting to take the car, which I'll tell you about in a minute. It just, I just wanted to, I put out a tweet to that effect recently, or maybe it was the Instagram post. I can't keep it straight now, but yeah, just really, whether you just listen, which is great, whether you also support me on Patreon, whether you you've tweeted me a nice thing, emailed me a nice thing, emailed me a call for the Ride the Lightning hotline. Like literally whatever your involvement and engagement with this podcast is and with me is, I just appreciate it. And I thank you for going a long way towards making this day possible. You know, I work, I like to think that I work very hard and on everything I do, and put a lot of time and energy and love into it. And I hope that all comes through in the stuff that I do, whether it's this or for IGN. But again, I have to acknowledge, and I don't want to take for granted the fact that my career is predicated upon just you guys being interested in what I do. So thank you all. Just thank you so much. I mean, again, we're just getting started. Like this is the beginning of, this is Ride the Lightning Chapter 2, right? Chapter 1 was these first 3 years of being the kid with his face pressed up against the glass on the outside looking in. Now I get, they opened the door for me, and you guys did. You guys helped make it happen, you know, and now I'm inside. Now hopefully I'll be able to share a lot more valuable insights than even, you know, I always do my best to be well-researched and present factual information and good analysis and thoughtful, reasoned analysis. But now I've got a different perspective, and hopefully a more informed perspective. So on to Chapter 2 as year 4 of Ride the Lightning officially begins. So let's start with the run-up. So I got the word last Sunday. So July, that would have been 22nd, is when I got the word, it's time, your delivery's almost here. Let's get this rolling. And I want to give a shout out. I'm not going to give last names just because privacy, and I didn't get people's permission or anything. So there was just my delivery advisor, my inside delivery advisor's name happened to also be Ryan. He was nothing but kind and very responsive and very informative. He answered a number of questions for me throughout the week. He helped me with, I needed to get a copy of the final contract to the credit union that I was doing financing with, so that they could release the money at the end of the week. And that contract still hadn't shown up in my account, and he drew up a pro forma agreement for me and signed it so that I could, that enabled me to get my my funds from the credit union. So he was great all week. I really want to send a shout out his way. If he happens to hear this, he knows who he is. But Ryan, you were fantastic. Again, super responsive, super helpful. I appreciate it. Then, now let me tell you about, there on this roller coaster, there was a dip in the roller coaster before we got there, before the payoff happened. So what was going on with me is I was going to be paying, I had my down payment that I was going to be getting, transferring to Tesla, and then I had my financing money. So I just told you about the financing a bit. So for the funds, I had them all, I had everything in my bank account ready to go, and I just kept waiting. I kept checking every day, multiple times a day. In your My Tesla page, you get when you've configured and ordered and you're waiting, you have your VIN number, you'll have a screen that says next steps, and it'll say something like, we will contact you, we're finalizing your paperwork, and we'll contact you when we're ready to complete payment. And that screen just was sitting there into Saturday. So delivery is scheduled for Sunday, July, like I said, 29th, yesterday as I record this, at 3:30 p.m. was my scheduled time. And of course, I know the credit union and banks, everything's closed on Sunday. Tesla's not, certainly, but... So I started to get nervous on Saturday. So I reached out again, got kind of a reassurance, but not... Because what happened was, the reassurance was because basically the payment portal on the My Tesla page, where I could go in and do the ACH transfer and get Tesla their money, it wasn't showing up for me. So I just kept waiting for it to pop. I'm searching, I'm Googling and I found a Tesla Motors Club thread about that, where people are like, oh yeah, It was skin of my teeth. It only came in like 3 days before. I'm like, it's like a day before. I'm getting kind of nervous. So we get to Sunday morning, and it still has not appeared. I still am not able to pay Tesla. And now I'm starting, like, I'm riddled with anxiety at this point. Like, I'm not excited. I'm not like bouncing off the walls, freaking out about waiting for the clock to hit 3:30 p.m. I'm worried, very worried that this delivery is going to go, it's not going to happen. I'm worried that it's going to get delayed. My cousin Pat from Arizona, I may have mentioned this last week. It's all a blur. I apologize if I repeat myself at any point. The last 24 hours have been a blur, a good blur. But Patrick came up from Arizona. He just flew up for the day. He left this morning, so there was no real margin. Like he spent his time and his money to come up here and be a part of this, which I was so grateful for. And I'm just like, if this doesn't happen today, I'm just gonna be so disappointed and frustrated. And poor Pat will have come up here for nothing. And so I called the customer service line, which I had planned to do anyway, because I had read a lot of forum accounts, Reddit accounts of people who did kind of have, not everybody, obviously, it's a minority of folks, but people who had shown up for delivery. They'd driven a while, they'd driven out to wherever they were picking up their car, and there was a problem with the car, like a firmware update didn't take or something, and they couldn't take delivery, and they had to get rescheduled after coming all the way down there. So I thought, like, all right, I'm going to call I'd already planned before all this payment problem stuff started. I'd already planned on calling the Tesla, the Fremont delivery hub, to just check on it. Say, hey, this is my name, here's my reservation number, my VIN number. Just want to make sure my car's, like, everything's ready and we're good for today's delivery. So I call, and and you may have heard, the Tesla's so backed up with calls. I was on hold for 50 minutes before anybody picked up. But once someone did, it's a wonderful woman who I want to give a shout out to. Her name is Anne Marie. If you ever happen to call the customer service line and get Anne Marie, she is a wonderful person. She was very helpful, very empathetic towards the situation when I explained everything that was going on. And I just told her, it's like, I can't pay. I've got no. She said, oh, well, so it shows on our end that we opened that up to you a couple hours ago. Should be fine. Like I logged that back. I logged out, logged back in. It's not there. I'm freaking out. So she had not encountered that before, and it's Sunday. So certain managers, people are tough to get a hold of. She puts me on hold for a bit, checks with somebody, comes back. That goes on a couple times. She's trying to figure this out, get some answers. Eventually, she has me hang up, and she calls me back after checking deeper into it about half an hour later. And she finally got a hold of somebody, whether it was with the contracts people or what. Somebody got in and brute forced my payment portal open. So Anne Marie solved the problem. Like, I literally felt, I felt this weight, this emotional weight lift. Like the stress just completely drained from my body. And I finally could start getting pumped up about the delivery again. And so as the time got closer, a Tesla employee friend of mine, who I think might wish to remain anonymous, but that employee kindly drove me and my crew. It was my wife, my daughter, and my cousin Pat, drove us in their Model X, which was cool. So it was cool to get chauffeured over to a Tesla delivery in a Tesla. That was great. And so I tell you, so when I got there, you check in outside at the Fremont delivery hub. It's just so busy. That's certainly, at least on this Sunday it was, and I suspect every day. And this was not, the last day of a quarter, none of that. I mean, this was just a busy, busy, busy day because production is up. It's 5,000 threes a week, 2,000, 1,000 S's, 1,000 X's, 7,000 cars a week. So they are busy. So you check in at a kiosk, there's like a little stop outside, a little stand. They've got some laptops and they check you in. And right away, the woman at the check-in says, we're running about 45 or so minutes behind right now, which I expected after checking in on Reddit and the forums that it's been super crazy there. So, okay. So we just went in and waited in the lounge for a while and started talking to, there's a cool, like, this big gray wall when you walk in with big Tesla letters on it. People were taking pictures in front of that. So I took some pictures there, and I had my wife bring her nice camera and took some pictures with Pat and with her and with my Tesla employee friend. And so, I knew I had to wait, and my daughter was occupied, I think either watching a cartoon on an iPad or something, and I was just talking to Pat. But anyway, there's a bunch of people. Of course, there's tons of other people waiting for their deliveries as well. Everybody's delayed a little bit. They were running behind. So this guy says, "Are you Ryan McCaffrey?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." It's like, "Oh, I've seen your stuff," and super nice guy. His name is Kirk. Kirk from Baton Rouge, and I want to tell you about Kirk real quick. Kirk is not only a super nice guy who is all in on Tesla. He's taken delivery of a Model 3, same day, obviously. He is doing this awesome thing. He's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Rather than wait for the car, he flew out to come pick up the car and was going to take like a 3 or 4 week journey back across the country to take it home, stopping at many places along the way to visit friends and family. And I just thought that was super cool. So Kirk, thanks for talking to me. Thanks for helping pass that wait. And I hope you're, because right now he should be on the road. So Kirk, if you happen to hear this at any point, I hope your road trip is going well, and I hope your car is great, and you are awesome. So finally, the time comes where the Tanea, I want to give a shout out to her. She was my delivery specialist. She was an incredibly just enthusiastic, cheerful, kind, knowledgeable woman with just unending patience. She spent all the time with me I needed. And she said it right, like, I will spend all the time with you that you want. I was not hustled in and out of there at all. Just Tanea was fantastic. And so she takes me over to sign the papers, like make it official, sign that final MVPA, that motor vehicle purchase agreement. And then it was time to go outside and see the car. So I expected to be seeing it inside because I'd seen pictures of the delivery center, and they've got the cars in sort of a kind of darkened room, at least according to the pictures I saw, with like art gallery lighting on the cars. So it's like kind of a really cool look, but I was advised, bring a flashlight so you can really get a look at the paint under that lighting and be looking for stuff. And she says, "Oh, are you ready to go outside and see your car?" I said, "Oh, are they not are some people inside and some people outside?" And she said, "No, everybody's outside now because they're just too busy, and they didn't want to have like some people inside, some people outside, so that people wouldn't feel like, oh, I didn't get to be inside, so everybody's on equal footing." So all the deliveries are happening outside in front of the delivery center, which actually I was super happy about because then I didn't need the flashlight. I had the bright East Bay, California sunshine. It was about 80 degrees. It was a beautiful sunny day, and I'd be able to see the paint, see everything really clearly. So we get ready to come out front, and I did record it. And I'm going to play the clip, just a little piece of it. This is Pat. I told Pat, okay, I asked Pat to video it on my phone. And then I hit record on my handheld recorder, had myself mic'd up like a maniac. And this is us. This is me walking outside and seeing the car for the first time. Here you go. Come on out. Kirk, safe trip.
I want to come see your car.
Sure.
Let me have both the doors.
Okay, and I'm recording on this. Yes. I think that's probably it.
I think you're right.
What probably what?
A little bit.
How many performance are you pushing out?
This is actually my first performance delivery. This is going to be, I believe, our facility's third or fourth.
Wow.
I saw another one.
Yeah, I saw another one earlier today
Yeah, we
too.
did our first a couple days ago. And then a lot of the showrooms had gotten them before everybody else.
I can't believe this is real.
I'm happy I got the red.
So go ahead and
look
give
at
her a
the
once
wine.
over. Let me know if anything looks off, looks different.
What do you think?
So that was it. That was the moment. And I I have to say, you could hear me get emotional there. I thought for sure ahead of time that I would break down, because again, it's just like, I'm not going to apologize for it. It's just like, hey, a lot has gone into this moment. I've been waiting for this and working for this and hoping for this for so long. I really thought I would lose it, and I didn't. I think maybe it could partially be because they had me on ice for so long, and I'm not saying that as a criticism, but just the fact that because I was a little emotional, like I told you, when I got there. In fact, when we checked in, when we were walking down the sidewalk past all the row of cars, I saw a car that was my exact configuration. It was the only other performance, at least visibly performance, so the white interior, red calipers that I saw there. And so I thought I was about to walk past or walk up to my own car, but my friend from Tesla got up to it first and said, "Oh, check the VIN." So, "What's your VIN?" I told, it wasn't mine. It was very close to my VIN number, clearly from the same batch of red cars, because it was my exact config, but not mine. So but even that, when I thought that was it, I started to get emotional, and then, okay, that's not it. And then went inside, and then, I just had, I was sitting in there for well over an hour. Hour and probably 15, hour and 20 minutes, something like that. So it could have been that, could have been the fact that maybe just I was sort of subconsciously afraid to break down emotionally in front of a bunch of other people. But yeah, I mean, you get, I definitely got emotional when I first saw it, and I have to say, it hit me more. I was able to let that emotion go a little bit. I really did kind of well up today, actually, when I was just in it by myself, driving it to Immaculate Reflections for the detail work, and that it hit me a bit there. I think maybe I had music going too, and music, I'm sure for most people it's very capable of helping to trigger emotion, and so, but nevertheless, I mean, it was incredible to see it. I have to say, the white interior, which I so enthusiastically ordered and was so happy about, I love it. I love it. I think I might love it more seeing it in person. Quick story, actually, about that. Quick aside. So I went to a Tesla store the day before, on Saturday, because I'd called ahead earlier in the week. I knew that I was getting the paint protection film, and so I needed new emblems, because the emblems were gonna come off. Jeff at Immaculate Reflections, and he said, "No, put the film down and then put emblems back over the top." Well, once they're off, you need a new one with new adhesive. So I'd called Tesla and said, "Oh, can I explain what I was doing?" They took my name and VIN number so they could see I was legit, and they said, "Sure, yeah, we've got them. You can come on in." And so I went to get them on Saturday, and so I walk in, I'm waiting, and as the gentleman is checking the back for the emblems, I was just chatting a little bit with one of the sales guys on the floor, and he says, explain, "Oh, I'm getting performance delivery tomorrow, can't wait," and he goes, "Well, we just got ours. It's not for," I was like, "Oh, for test drives?" Yeah, for test drives, and it's we're still prepping it." And he goes, "You want to see it?" And immediately, so it's in the back. Immediately go, yes. I was knee-jerk instinct. Yes. Yes, I want to see it. And then 2 seconds later, oh, wait, no. I've waited this long, and I haven't seen the white interior in person yet on a 3. Obviously, I've seen it on S and X, and that's why I love it. I was like, no, I want that moment to be on my own car. So he was very nice to offer to take me to the back to see it, but I somehow managed the willpower to not take him up on his offer. And I tell you, in hindsight, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I got to wait and see my own car. And I'll tell you, you heard me in the clip when I said, I'm pretty sure that's mine. And the reason wasn't because it was red. The reason was because it was like the only other, because the other one I saw on the way in was like far away. It was the only one even in the vicinity with a white interior and obviously the red paint. And I got to tell you, again, I'm not disparaging the black interior at all. I think it's very nice, it's super classy. But the white the white interior car in the sea of Model 3s just jumped out. It was, I love it. It was fantastic. And then when I opened the door and I sat in the car, and then Tanea starts walking me through stuff, pairing the phone and going over some functions and naming the car, which I'll tell you about in a second. I looked down right away. The metal McCaffrey pedals were there. They were installed on the car. They were supposed to be, according to everything, they were supposed to be installed at the service center later, along with the spoiler and the badge. So I was super stoked. I had the aluminum pedals right off the bat, which, if you saw my Instagram post, you saw that. That's why that was specifically for you guys, because I knew you'd be curious. I knew you'd be interested in that. So I was really stoked to see the aluminum pedals on there. That was great. And as you heard Tanea say, it was her first performance delivery, and like according to her, the fourth one in Fremont, and I guess the fifth one was just down the road, going to be done later that day. But yeah, I mean, it looks great. The paint is mostly great. There are a few spots. I mean, you don't expect perfection. I mean, Tesla is a young automaker. It's just not going to be flawless. There's one like. It's almost like kind of a dent, but it's like almost a dent in the paint. I don't know, it's weird for me to explain because I'm not an expert. But it's on the driver's side A-pillar, and they took it back. They looked at it like, well, we could do that. We'd have to send it to a body shop. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then when Jeff looked at it today, he was like, yeah, there's nothing I can do about this without taking it to a body shop, and then they'd probably have to blend like the entire rest of that area of the car, like part of the fender, part of the hood, part of the door. I was like, I think I'm just going to have to live with this little imperfection. But yeah, paint was really good overall, which Jeff confirmed today when I dropped off the car and he gave it a good look over. I mean, he'll be taking a detailed look at it under lights in his shop, but his initial observation was that it was good. The panel gaps, everybody talks about panel gaps. Mine were pretty good. The one thing, the right front headlight, I mean, there's not front headlight, the right headlight, it's not flush on the bottom, like towards the bottom of the car. It's flush on the top, which is with the hood and the fender. But yeah, it's like there's like sort of there's a good probably centimeter or so difference you can feel. It's not flush, and they brought it back to the service in the back, and they brought it back out and said, well, this is within spec. But she kind of said, it's actually the manager there. Let me find her name because I'll give her a shout out too. She wrote, Cynthia, the associate manager at the Fremont Delivery Center. Very nice. She had come out to go over these things we were taking note of. She said, she basically said if I want to do something about it, that a service center could take care of it later, but that they weren't going to take care of it there. It's like, okay, that's fine. Like it's a thing that either I will have done at a service center later if there's an adjustment that can be made, or it might just be a thing that I stop caring about tomorrow, honestly. You know what I mean? So overall, the fit and finish was great. Really happy with it. And what else can I tell? Oh, so as far as the white interior, there's a couple things to note about the white interior. That, again, you've seen pictures. I'm not telling you anything you don't necessarily already know, but the dashboard piece, which there have been some pictures out, but no offense to anybody, but not necessarily great pictures of that piece. So finally seeing it in person, it's a smooth piece, kind of a ceramic feel, but it's obviously it's just like a plastic of some kind, just I guess like the wood is. I don't think that's actual wood, but it's very minimalist. It's very simple, which I like minimalist stuff. So I like it. I won't say I think it's amazing. It's an incredible look for the dashboard. Like, no, it looks good. It looks fine. I like it slightly better than the wood, but I don't think, still like a carbon fiber could be cool maybe in the future. It is a smooth piece though, so if you did want to wrap it, if you're getting white interior, you could wrap that a heck of a lot easier than you can wrap that grained wood veneer that's in the black interior cars. And then the other interesting thing about the white interior, besides the fact, so like Pat was really commenting, he liked the contrast of the black interior pieces with the white interior pieces. So you've got parts of the door are black, the center console is all black. He really liked the contrast of those two pieces, and I agree with him. But the both black and white premium interior have really awesome door infill panels, like sort of the middle section of the door on the inside. In the black interior cars, it's the Alcantara material, so it's like really nice to the touch, soft and kind of fuzzy to the touch. I like it a lot. In the white interior cars, that piece isn't a white Alcantara, but instead it's the seat material. So it's a very soft, supple, that white synthetic material, and I really like it. So I think both colors of that particular piece, that door infill piece, are really cool and really sort of luxury and premium to the look and to the touch in their own way. So I thought that was an interesting difference between the black interior and white interior cars. I will say as well, the seats themselves they're very soft, very supple. They felt very comfortable. I'm super happy about it. You've got that bolster for your lower back. There's a four-way switch to make that it more intense or less intense for you, however you like your back to be positioned while you're seated in your car. Everybody there, by the way, not just the employees that I mentioned, but just being there, the energy was so cool. And I hadn't even really thought about that ahead of time. Like if I had thought about it, I would have thought, yeah, that would probably be like that. But I just hadn't even given that a thought ahead of time. But all the other customers there taking delivery of their cars, it's like a bunch of kids all waiting for their Christmas tree to go up, or for them to be taken to their pile of holiday gifts outside, except it's one gift in the form of a 4,000-pound vehicle. But just the energy in that place was so cool. I of course told you about Kirk, but then there was when I was outside actually with my car going over it and everything, there was a family next to me who was taking delivery of a gorgeous blue black interior Model 3, and so I was talking to them a little bit and congratulating them, and I took a family picture for them, like the four of them in front of their car, and it's just what a cool vibe. Like it's such positive, enthusiastic, just awesome. Nobody's sad, nobody's mad. Everybody was just like super happy, having a great time, feeling good. I mean, I wish I could bottle that. I mean, I guess the car itself kind of bottles that, and when you get in it, it's like just taking a sip of that. But yeah, just fantastic. So look out for that when you're getting ready to take delivery of yours. I know not every store, every place is quite as busy as the Fremont Delivery Hub. I guess there are ups and downs, right? I mean, the downside is the Fremont Delivery Hub was crazy busy, and I had to wait over an hour for my car. But on the flip side, there's so many more people there that energy really was magnified and palpable. So that was pretty cool. What else can I tell you? Oh, the name of my car. I can't remember if I said what I was going to name it on last week's show, but and if you saw it, if you looked at the Instagram post. But I thought about what to name the car, and just one day it just hit me. Like recently too, like probably a week or two ago. It just hit me. I love Pixar's Up. That is my favorite Pixar film. I adore it. I think it's a beautiful movie. And I thought of the name of the airship, the Spirit of Adventure. And I thought that's the perfect name for my Model 3 because that's what this car is. That's what it represents to me. It is the Spirit of Adventure. I was a little worried that there'd be a character limit and the Spirit of Adventure wouldn't fit. It fit, no problem. No idea how long, if there's even a character limit, but it fit no problem. And so my Model 3's name is the Spirit of Adventure. And what's cool is it shows that when you open up the app, anytime you open up your Tesla app, the name of your car is at the very, very top of that home screen. It's the Spirit of Adventure. Right now, my car has 190 miles of range on the battery. It is parked. It is 99 degrees inside. So that tells me that, well, Jeff told me what he was doing. He was cleaning out his shop. He's about 20 miles from some of the unfortunate wildfires that have again struck Northern California. So he was blowing out the dust and the ash, and he was cleaning his shop. So that tells me my car is still outside, and that's okay. He's cleaning out his shop. He told me that's what he was going to be doing. But so yes, everyone, I'm proud to introduce the Spirit of Adventure. Let me tell you a little bit more about the day. I know I'm rambling here, but I guess that's the point. This is the most narcissistic episode of this podcast that there will ever be. And if you get bored at any point, it's a podcast. You could just stop and delete this and move on with your life. But yeah, I've got more to tell you. So, all right. So that's the delivery. Now, time to drive. Okay, so everybody loads in. We're set, and I, slowly go through the parking lot, make my way out, and the road that the delivery center is on. It's sort of a quiet little businessy road, and it's Sunday, so none of the other businesses are open. So the road's empty. So I pull out, and I'm making a left because I'm making my way towards the Tesla factory right across the freeway, like a mile, which I'll tell you about in a second. So I just pull out, turn left, and there's no one around. Stop the car. And I think you know what's going to happen next. Although, okay, unfortunately, I confess, I didn't record this, which is really unfortunate. I was too caught up. I mean, I hope you'll forgive me. But yeah, I meant to record this, the first ever launch. I didn't get it, but I do have a fun clip for you in a second that from the second launch. But just pulled up, stop, told everybody, all right, here we go. And this is, by the way, so with a half battery, half a charge. So just nailed it. And I was it's not even like giggling. I was cackling, my friends, like a horrible goblin, just like Gollum, just cackling. That is the level of glee that this brought me, mashing it for the first time. I mean, I don't want to exaggerate this. I haven't measured anything, but it felt like what I remember the P85D feeling like when I reviewed that for IGN 3 years ago. 3 years ago. That, I mean, it's certainly a P85D was 3.2 seconds and then eventually 3.1 after a firmware update. The Model 3 is 3.5 seconds, and I didn't even have a full state of charge, which is thought to affect the acceleration time. But it was that gut punch, like just hits you in the gut, pins your belly to the seat, and it just pulls. It's it's like that roller coaster just pulling, and it felt so good. It felt Oh, good. I just was, I rolled down the window and I was just like pumping my fist in the air out the window, feeling so good. I mean, it's just, man, it was a euphoric moment, I have to say, a euphoric moment for which I'm so grateful to have been able to have that moment. So we went over to the factory, which I had planned on because I assumed I was expecting the car to probably not have a full state of charge. And I even looked, the people next to me, their car had about a half a charge too. I think there's just again, Fremont was so busy, they just don't have time to fully charge all the cars. So they figure, well, all right, half a charge will get them at least home, which is fine. I understand that. So we went over to the factory to supercharge there. Fortunately, I was able to pull right in. There were a few other Model 3s, no other performance Model 3s, at least no other visibly performance Model 3s, because of course the performance, if you don't get the performance package, if it's not the plus, by the way, I don't know if I addressed this. After I talked about what did I say, the PP3D was the thing I floated out there. Nick Hoffman was the first person to write me and say, how about P3D and P3D Plus if you get the performance package? And I wrote back right away. I said, Nick, I am on board with you, co-signed, and I've actually seen that nomenclature spread to Reddit already. So I think if everybody's in agreement, we'll go with P3D and P3D Plus if you get the performance package. So anyway, so there could have been a regular P3D there, and you'd never really know it. But in any case, it was the only white interior 3 in the group. It was all SSX, and it was a mix of everything. And so then we went in the lounge there to relax. We were going to supercharge for about 20, 30 minutes. I FaceTimed with my mom and dad in Arizona, walked them around the car, which was super cool. They were stoked. And I talked to the employees inside for a minute and ended up buying my daughter a little Tesla jacket because I was just feeling very much in the moment, and she loves it. And it's like this cute little zip up jacket with a hood and fits her well. And so that was cool. And yeah, so after we topped up, then it was okay, let's go to dinner. I wanted to go to dinner somewhere not close that we could drive to. So we were getting ready to do that, but then now that the state of charge was up, I wanted to do another launch. Now my wife, and as she was in the P85D, just doesn't like it. Doesn't like, because it makes her feel car sick, and especially in the back seat, I can super understand, especially. So I said, all right, we got to do one more because I want to do this little video. And I will try to get this little video onto my YouTube soon. So if you're looking for it and it's not there, I'm going to try to get it up there soon. But I do want to play you the audio clip from it. So I had a really funny, what I thought was a funny idea for a little launch video in the Model 3. I had my wife film from the back seat with me obviously driving, and Pat is in the passenger seat. So I thought this was a good homage to my past, my previous dream car and my new dream car. And I thought it was also just appropriate for the Model 3. I thought this, like a good vanity license plate, I thought that this was funny and fun on a couple of different levels. So here is the first launch done on about I think 80% state of charge on the frontage road right in front of the Tesla factory, where again there was no one around. It was safe to do so. There were no driveways where anybody could have shot out of. It was a safe stretch. Here you go.
If my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 1 mile per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit. Oh, it feels so good. Oh man, that was so good.
Mommy, are you perfect?
All right, that's I won't subject you to any more torture.
Sorry, I guess I should have warned you that I used the curse word there, because I do very purposely keep the show clean so that you can listen to it in the car with anybody around. And really, who needs to curse on a Tesla podcast? I mean, I don't. But that is quoting, of course, Back to the Future, classic line from Back to the Future when Doc is first showing Marty the DeLorean time machine. Except he says, of course, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour. So I thought, I don't know, I thought that was fun. Maybe you thought that was silly and dumb, and you're rolling your eyes at me right now, but that's okay. I accept that if that's your take from it. All right, what else can I tell you? I am. Let's see. I should probably wrap this up soonish. I'll just tell you a few more things. I will say, gunning it. So with this will apply to all-wheel drive, not just performance, but any of the all-wheel drive Model 3s. Nailing it, just going hard around a corner, might be almost as much fun as just a straight line launch acceleration. Because, man, it is stuck to the road. It is a go-kart. It is just like a slot car, just boom, right around a corner. I had the chance, right as I was turning, making a right turn onto the final road before I turned into Immaculate Reflections to drop the car off for detailing. It was light was green. I wasn't doing it off her, so I was already kind of moving, and I just was heading into the turn, at kind of normal speed, and then I just nailed it halfway through the turn. Oh, that felt good. That was super cool. So if you're getting an all-wheel drive Model 3, the cornering is going to be super fun. So I can't wait to have a little more fun with that. Again, when it's safe to do so. Autopilot turned on after dinner on the way home, and I was just able to just activate it right away. It was super cool. I have to say, my autopilot impression so far, extraordinarily positive. It was handling lane changes great when I would signal those. It was handling curves great at highway speed. And yeah, it just seems really smooth so far on the freeway. And I will tell you the ride quality of the 20-inch wheels. I knew what I was getting into with the 20s, but I was like, I wonder how the ride quality is going to be. It feels really good. It's not obviously super harsh. I think it feels pretty good. I think the thing to do would be maybe our friend Michael from Millbrae, maybe if we do a back-to-back drive, I drive his, I drive mine, he drives mine, he drives his, and we'll have to see what kind of, and just what we each feel, because he's got the 18s on his, and I've got the 20s, so see if there's a real noticeable difference. But just off, my first impression was that the car felt like it rides pretty good. So if you're concerned about that with the 20s, that's seemingly maybe not too big of a worry. Quick autopilot tip, by the way. This is I'm sure not the first person to say this, but as a new owner, speaking to you guys, many of you who will be new owners soon as well. Here, pay attention to this. When you're using autopilot, and it asks you to apply some gentle force to the wheel to make sure that you're still got your hand on it. And actually mostly did have my hand on it, but just super lightly, enough where it would still bother me. It would be like, hey, grab the wheel, let's go. So the first time, or maybe not the first, but at one point I did that, and I didn't realize that I jerked it just hard enough to disable auto steer, but the cruise control was still going. So my feet, I was feet free. The car was handling that part, but I thought the car was still steering itself, and then I started to drift into the lane next to me, near a little hauntingly close to another car, and I was like, and then I looked and I saw that my auto steer icon was gray instead of it's blue when it's active. So that is probably one of the biggest safety tips I could pass along. I almost learned this the real hard way when you're checking in with autopilot, make sure if you just jerk it enough to disable it, just make sure you know that so you can re-engage it, and don't autopilot when you're actually not autopiloting. And then I guess one other tip I'll pass along too. This is something. So I like Pandora a lot. I really have a nicely curated Pandora account. So I was using that through the Bluetooth connection and from the phone to the car, and that worked fine, but the volume was like super low, and I'm like, that's weird. Why is this not I had it all the way up in the car, and it was still barely anything in the car. Turned out I managed to look and see you have to make sure the source volume, so the volume on your phone is up, and then it's going to kick that to the car, and then of course the car can amplify that with its volume. So when I turned the volume on my phone pretty much all the way up, then it felt the volume control felt pretty good and pretty normal, and the volume levels, felt pretty good and felt pretty normal with the car controls. I did get a software update, so the car was delivered with, let's see, what was this again? 24.8 is what it was, and then it updated overnight to 26.3, I think. Sorry, I'm just checking my app. Yeah, 26.3. So, get this, that means in less than 24 hours since I've taken delivery, the car has already improved. It's gotten better because I now have the honk, the walk away lock, the lock confirmation where it gives the gentle tap of the horn. So it didn't do that yesterday, and now it does that. So how cool is that? All right, what else can I tell you? I think just a few more things I'd like to mention. I have an iPhone 10, and so far, 100% success rate with using the phone as a key. So that's good news there. I will say, as I've been driving, I've waved at every single Tesla owner I could, and most of them I can't get their attention. But at one point, when I was on my way from the delivery center to the factory to go supercharge, another red Model 3 was coming in the opposite way, and I rolled my window down and I waved out the window, and the guy waved back. I was like, yes, he waved back. That's awesome. And then get this, I met the guy in the lounge at the Tesla factory supercharger. He came back. He said he was on a test drive. So I was like, oh, is that you that waved at me? I was like, yeah, that was me. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't think to give him the Model 3 wave, the OK sign with the, index finger making a circle with your thumb and the other three fingers up, but it was pretty cool. I thought it was super cool that I got, one of the first Model 3s I saw from my Model 3 waved back at me when I waved at him. So, the car is at Immaculate Reflections now, where it's going to be for a little while. For full transparency, I do have an arrangement with Jeff. He's giving me a discount, which is allowing me to make this detailing happen, because obviously I just spent a lot of money on the car, still have to pay for it, but came to an arrangement with Jeff where I'm plugging him at the end of the podcast, and he's given me a bit of a break on his services, which I really appreciate. So, but what I will say to that, because I think transparency is important, I started plugging his business from the start just because we really connected in the beginning. He reached out to me, and we had about an hour phone call. I thought I'd be on the phone with this guy for 10 minutes. We talked for like an hour, because I've had people come to me that want to quote unquote advertise on the show that I've actually said no to, because I just don't think it's a great fit. Like I really, you guys are so trusting of me to even give me your time that like, I don't want to just take anything that somebody puts in front of me and put it in front of you. So, with Jeff, we really hit it off. I could tell he was a really honest stand-up guy. when we first talked on the phone, and that was all just so confirmed when I went and met him in person a few months ago and recorded that interview that you heard in June. And so I'll say yes, I'm taking my car to Jeff because he's given me a little bit of a break in exchange for, giving him the plug at the end of the podcasts. But I did my research. I spoke to him. I got a good feeling. I did my research on him through Yelp and Instagram and looking at the reviews and the pictures of his work. And I feel really good about him. And at least from now on, or at least once I get my car back, I'll be able to vouch for his craftsmanship and expertise myself. So I'll really be able to speak from a place of experience there. So thank you, Jeff, for reaching out to me about, almost a year ago already, and starting up that relationship. And I'm glad he's working on my car. I know he's gonna give it the time and attention to detail that's gonna have it looking amazing. I can't wait to see it when it's done. And I guess I just want to close out by you're gonna laugh at this. It's fine. I started a long time ago, way before the 3 was, I had any idea what my delivery date would be. I started thinking about man, if I could, I think I started thinking about this like a year ago when the Model 3 came out. I was like, if I could give a speech or write a speech for Elon to give to the employees, man, what would I want to say? It'd be cool to talk to the whole company. And I just got a few little thoughts down. So I thought, so I want to end with a little maybe if I'm lucky, inspirational or fun prepared statement, this little thing I wrote. And just feel free to laugh it off. Hey, you guys know I don't mind making fun of myself. I know that I'm goofy, I'm a nerd, that I'm, obsessed with Tesla and DeLoreans and video games and baseball and boxer puppies. And, I've got my stuff that I care about, and you can laugh at me if you want, it's fine. But, I thought, so here's a little take. This is only a few paragraphs. I didn't end up getting time to really flesh out a full speech, but I thought it'd be cool to get up in front of the whole company, all of Tesla, as if I were one of them, and say, if I were Elon, I'd say, they never heard us coming, and when they finally turned to see, they said, Tesla won't survive, let alone thrive. That would be insane, ludicrous even. They never heard us coming. The future may not be the flying cars that science fiction promised us as kids, but the future has arrived. And make no mistake, it is a better future. The future begins every day in Fremont, California, and in the minds and hands of a team of 40,000 strong and growing at Tesla. And now, it starts in our garages too. Every morning, it begins in silence, with only the sound of rubber meeting asphalt to give any indication that our future is alive and well. Today, we ride out into the morning, the afternoon, the evening, or the night. We drive to commute, to run errands, or just for fun, because we are powered by the sun, the wind, or maybe by water. And because of this, our tomorrow is just a little bit better for us and for our cars, because they might receive a new update that adds or improves something. We are united by one or more of our shared enthusiasms for the earth, for the performance, for the technology, for American-built pride. From this day forward, I will no longer ride on oil. Today, I ride the lightning.